Hi guys and welcome back. So I'm Robert McGowan and today I'm out in my Porsche 993. It's a 1995 car and I thought I would share some driving impressions of this car in case you're interested in buying one or just for entertainment value. So if you don't know me, I've written a few Porsche books. In fact, I have one here handily. Porsche 911, the practically free supercar. Why did I call it the practically free supercar? Well, the thinking is that if you buy the right Porsche 911 at the right price, you can get your money back come resale, or even make a profit. Now that's not the goal of these cars, I don't think. You shouldn't buy these cars to make a profit. You should buy it for the love of the car, and if you make some money or break even, then that's a bonus. But if you're interested in Porsches, I'm pretty sure you'll love that book. I'll leave it in the description below. So yes, back to the car. So one of the first things you feel when you first get in the car is just how low it is. Of course, when you open the door, you have that lovely sound of the door closes. It's a real solidly built car. You can tell as soon as you get in, everything is very well engineered, over engineered. The cabin is quite snug inside. I can touch the side door, I can touch everything, but you know, I think because of the head height in here, it kind of gives the impression at least that the cabin is bigger than it actually is. It doesn't feel too cramped, it feels great. Visibility is great all round, loads of glass. You feel as though you can see everywhere you have to. You can plant the car on the road wherever you want to. You can see across the bonnet and see the two wings raised as well. So yeah, this car's got 272 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive, 3.6 boxer engine, and it has 243 pounds-foot of torque, and it only weighs 1340 kilograms. So power to weight ratio is pretty good, and the performance is definitely still lively, enough to keep up with modern cars, and certainly enough to have a lot of fun with. So yeah, again, driving position in these sports seats feels really nice. 5-speed dashboard, 5-gauge dashboard layout, sorry. Just typical of the old classic 911s. They were the same from 1964 to 1998, where you get the 5-gauge dash with the taco dead centre. Everything's easy to read, everything's spot on, and it looks the way that most sports cars should. 6-speed manual on this generation 911. It came as standard. This is the 4th generation 911, and again it's got the 6-speed gearbox as standard. They also came with Tiptronic gearboxes as well. But for me, the C2 manual is probably the one. The coupe is one to have. This is pre-Varioram. Varioram kind of added 15 brake horsepower or so, kind of mostly in the mid-range, and you can tell which cars are Varioram by looking in where the engine compartment is. You can see some of the pipework has actually got Varioram written on it in metal, and you can see it quite clearly marked. That's the giveaway. A lot of people ask which is the best, pre-Varioram or Varioram. With a 15 brake horsepower difference, I don't think there's anything in it enough to be concerned about. Sure, you may get a little bit more punch in the Varioram cars, but most of them were also slightly longer geared as well, so any performance increase is probably hard to really define. Plus these cars are all 30, this car's 30 years old now, so each car's going to drive a little bit different from the next, depending on how it's been taken care of, the mileage, etc. So I personally wouldn't be too bothered about whether a ar was Varioram or not. The thing that's very obvious when you get into this car and all previous 911s is the floor hinged pedals. It takes a little bit of getting used to, I suppose, and they're very slightly offset. Now it doesn't bother me. Some people have said they've had problems with it. That's not an issue to me. I quite like the floor hinged pedals. They're very chunky and they feel very well weighted. This car does have power steering and ABS, but again it's weighted in such where it feels very, very natural. The steering in this car feels really good. With the weight being in the back, with the engine being in the back, then this car does have what they call the 911 front end bob, where it's just like a very slight floaty sensation almost when you're steering the car. But don't let that sort of put you off. These cars steer, the feel and the steering in these cars really should be experienced by anyone who likes cars and who enjoys driving, because it really does feel fantastic. And the longer you drive it, the more you're in it, the better it gets. And I would say this car does take a bit of getting used to. How long? Well, I would say the car sort of a drip feeds you pleasure. You don't understand how to drive it to its, to its capabilities. It takes a long time to get a good feel for the car. You do feel the weight in the back a little bit, but with the rear suspension aluminium subframe that this car has, it really did dial out most of the snap oversteer that could happen in the previous cars. So it feels very sure-footed, it feels very secure, it doesn't feel as though you're going to spin backwards in a hedge. You can take corners at your speed, and obviously the idea is with old 911s to go do your braking on the straights and go fast in the corner, well, medium fast in the corner and fast out the corner. You don't lift off during a mid-corner if you can help it, because that could potentially cause some issues, more so in the wet. But honestly, these cars feel very sure-footed, and it really doesn't feel like a 30-year-old car. There's no squeaks or rattles or anything that kind of bugs you when you're driving the car. It's really it feels like it's very solid and very solidly built, which of course it is. I mean, these cars were, I think it's £58,000 back in 1995, quite a lot of money. So that equates to roughly about £163,000 in 2025. So that gives you a kind of rough idea the cost of these cars and the engineering that went into them, and the reason why some people call them the king of Porsche, because they were the pinnacle of the air-cooled 911s, and they were over-engineered to a point where Porsche almost went bankrupt when they were selling these cars, because they were so expensive to make. But that's great for us enthusiasts, because 30 years later these cars are still great if they've been looked after, serviced properly and all the rest of it. These cars are fantastic. I mean, I've just driven 900 odd miles actually today so far, and I'll do 100 odd more, and the car is just feels like it will drive all day and all night with no problems. It just attacks the road. It can be a GT car if you want it to be, or a sports car. Really does cover large distances very easily, and that's one of the reasons I love these cars, as well as being something beautiful to look at, as well as being a gorgeous thing just to own. You'll look at this car and sitting in your your garage, you'll go out to polish it, and you'll just think, wow, I own this car, and you just love it. You could look at it all day, but apart from that, it actually drives really well too. You've got the kind of loud air-cooled raucous sound from the engine. These cars being air-cooled, there's no water jacket to insulate the car from noise, so you hear it very much in the cabin, and we'll go for a wee drive and you can hear it. So the noise is fantastic. The feel of the car, the smell of the car, just that feeling of unbreakability with like loads of power and reserve. It's very addictive, and that's I could go on all day about why I love these cars, but they really are, I would say, pretty addictive. And the more you drive them, the more you have them, the more you get to bond with them, and the more you want to hang on to them. I've got no intentions of selling this car, even after 13 years. I have been fortunate enough to own a few Porsches from 2007 till present date. I did have an 86 Targa Sport for a few years, and I also owned a Boxster S for a few years after that, and then I bought this, and I also currently own a Boxster 987.2. So I've got quite a lot of experience, and I would still say, if you asked me which one I prefer, would be this one. It's just got everything that you want, and it's full of character. When you drive on the road, people sometimes wave and sometimes let you out, give you the thumbs up. It seems to have a kind of aura of friendliness about it. It's not too ostentatious. The rear spoiler pops up about 50 miles an hour, and when you're slowing down again to about 8 miles an hour, it lowers down again. So there's no kind of flashy like spoilers, or it doesn't scream kind of look at me in any way. It's just very elegant, timeless, purposeful and powerful. and it's beautiful, I would say. So yeah, I mean, that's just a quick overview of what this car is like to own and to drive on the road. I hope it's given you some wee kind of insight into what the car's like, and you've enjoyed the video. Give me a wee thumbs up and subscribe if you want. And again, if you're interested in my Porsche books, this being one of them, I've also written a Boxster book as well, and a Porsche quiz book that's had really good reviews. Check it out in the links below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.